Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're watching in the world. Welcome to another Soccer Sanchez podcast with myself, as always, Soccer Sanchez, here bringing you the latest in the world's beautiful game. Today, as always, I have a guest with me, and luckily for me, Lay Petreli is with us, the man from Dam. How are you today, Lay?
I'm great, thank you. How are you doing, Sanchez?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Awesome.
Lay, our man from Dam over there, is our Dutch expert as well as our Premier League expert. I'm sure you will be aware if you've heard him in the past. So today we're going to be doing something different. We're talking now while the football fixtures are being played out in England, and the Premier League has kicked off for this afternoon. And it's begun this afternoon with a 3-2 win for Frank Lampard and his Chelsea team. Uh, did you did you catch the game late? And what did you think of Lampard's performance, of Chelsea's performance in general today?
I saw bits of the game in parts. I mean, I came onto the game when it was about what 2-2, and I was a bit surprised. But yes, credit to Lampard for getting his first win. Much needed win. That said, you could tell based on I don't know, maybe it's too early to say, but in my opinion, it seems Chelsea really have to fight or go all out to try and get wins. And in terms of trying to secure victories, it's too early for them. I think they need to rely on weaker oppositions. If they come across or come face to face with anyone on their level from last season, I don't think they'll be ready for the test as yet. And obviously today was telling. They needed 3 goals to beat Norwich, who obviously credit to them, been very well. But yeah, good signs, but a lot to do for Lampard, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a pretty good game for a
Yeah.
early Saturday afternoon anyway. So as you can see from the fixtures there, I've got the fixture list up there, Lay. I know you can't see it from where you are at the moment, but we've got the result there: Chelsea 3, Norwich 2 at Carrow Road. Abraham started the scoring on 3 minutes, only to be equalised by Cantwell 3 minutes later on 6. The very impressive Mason Mount. I think
Mm.
Frank Lampard sees a lot of himself in Mount. Scored in 17 minutes, only for Norwich again to pull them back to 2-2, thanks to Pukki's 30th minute equaliser. And the game rounded off with Abraham winning the game on the 68th minute. Chelsea held out, and yeah, a good win for Frank Lampard on his first Premier League win. I've been very impressed with the way Lampard's approached his Chelsea team at the moment. I like that he's playing the young players, Mason Mount, Tammy Abrahams, Zuma. They've all got experience because we've all seen them either on loan to other clubs, either in the Premier League or abroad, specifically Mason Mount. But it's good to see that that's paid off because, especially today, watching them play, they do seem a bit of a team. And given more time
Mm.
and experience on the pitch, especially Mason Mount, I think that Chelsea do have some talented players. Um, I wasn't too impressed with Abraham's last season. Sorry, not last season, when his season at Swansea.
Yeah.
He's done very well so far this year. Do you think Abraham is the man to stay out front with Giroud on the bench? I personally don't see Giroud being a regular starter for Chelsea if Abraham continues in this form. Likewise, I think Mason Mount is going to be key to Chelsea this season. I know he's young, and I know people talk about Phil Foden, but for me, Mason Mount is the best attacking creative midfielder England have under 21s for the under
Mm.
21s right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, I wouldn't dispute. I mean, he's playing amazing. He's playing amazing. He was with him at Derby last season, and obviously it's a player he knows well. Yes, as you say, he probably sees a bit of him, the old, the young Lampard in a bit in Mason. In terms of his approach, getting on the end of some good moves, but he's still young, and I think at some stage it's a grueling season, and I've seen younger players do well. You might look at Guendouzi from last season, Wilshere in his breakthrough season at Arsenal, where he played about 40 games or so. But yeah, I think it might be a bit too early for him, and Chelsea in general. That said, we actually don't know how long Lampard would even last. So yeah, it's all too early to call in terms of Chelsea. I will say one thing though. Abraham looks like a great player. It's a bit too early for him too in terms of it's a grueling season, and I think Giroud is an excellent plan B. He played for Arsenal. We loved him there. He's effective wherever he goes. I still think I'm not sure what's the Batshuayi situation.
Yeah, go on, carry on. Sorry, I'll talk about that in a sec. But go on.
Yeah, like so. Even with Michi Batshuayi, I'm not sure what the situation is. Like, is he there? Is he not? So if they have, I would say between Giroud, Abrahams, and Batshuayi, Pedro as an attacking option, they actually could be all right for the season. I guess Mason Mount and hopefully a few. I would say a few goals from Pulisic. So yeah, it might be all right for them. But as I said, it's Chelsea, and only goodness knows who will be the manager at the end of the season, depending on the results. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, personally speaking, when I first saw Tammy Abrahams, I think it was Bristol City. He was loaned out to. He scored a bunch of goals there. I think he's some. I think I read somewhere that he recorded a goal every other game at the
Okay.
time, and I was really impressed with him. And then he went off to Swansea. Things didn't work out for him as it did in Bristol. I don't think he got over into double figures of his goal scoring that year.
Mm.
But last season with Aston Villa, he was fantastic. Spearheaded the club and helped them into gaining promotion into the Premier League. And personally speaking, I think it's only right now that we should see Abraham playing for Chelsea. It's now or never, in my opinion. Anyway, it's now or never for
Mm.
him. He needs to either start banging in goals when he gets a chance, or if he is going to be used as the main striker up front for Chelsea, which he has been so far this season. I know it's only been a couple of games. He needs to take advantage of that and prove to Lampard that, and to be honest, the fans and Abramovich, that he is the main man. But on that Batshuayi thing, I mean, I personally have always liked Batshuayi. I've
Mm.
always thought he's a good player. A lot of people ridicule him and say he's not good enough. I've always been a firm believer that you need to give players consistent playing time.
Mm.
And once they get that, they'll, and if they're good enough, they'll show their true colours. And I don't think Batshuayi has been given the opportunity. He's always kind of been on and off, playing for Valencia, Crystal Palace, was on loan there. At Chelsea, he hasn't been really given a chance either. When he was at Borussia Dortmund, though, he was playing very well. I think he did suffer a couple of injuries, but I would take him at my club. I think he's a good player. It is strange how he isn't playing. Maybe I'm missing something. Chelsea fans, if you know what's going on with Batshuayi, let me know. But at the moment, it does seem to be Abrahams and Giroud are the two favoured forwards for Lampard. On the Mason Mount thing, I've always liked Mason Mount. He's a fantastic player. I think it's a good thing that he actually went on loan abroad in Holland, did very well there. And his season last season with Derby, it should have been rewarded with promotion. Frank Lampard, obviously manager then with Derby last year, they did terribly well to get to where they got to, and the attacking football that Derby were playing, Mount was a huge catalyst in their attacking play, in their transition from defence to attack. So yeah, I'm glad he's getting opportunities. People can see now what a great player he is. He's got a fantastic shot if you haven't checked it out already. So next time he does a long range, have a little look at that. As I mentioned before at the start of the podcast, we are talking while the games are being played. SoccerSanchez, aka Jeff Stelling, on the mic right now. If you can see on the screen, you can see in the screen. Lay can't see it right now because he can't see what I've got in front of me. But we've got the halftime scores are in. I believe second half is going to kick off in 5 minutes. But a quick rundown: Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Southampton 0, and Donny sent off after 13 minutes. Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1. Jordan Ayew on the 32nd minute. That'll be a bit of a shocker if it stays that way, considering the pressure Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be under if that stays that Palace win. If it stays a Palace win. Sheffield United 0, Leicester City 1. Jamie Vardy, of course, who else? After 38 minutes. Watford's are drawing to West Ham 1-1. Gray on 17 minutes. But the scoring was opened by Mark Noble after 3 minutes thanks to a penalty. As you can see there, Liverpool versus Arsenal, the big game at 5:30 later this afternoon. So just running down the Premier League in general. Last time we spoke, we talked about transfers. Brighton and Hove Albion. Many criticised their appointment of Graham Potter this season, given that they got rid of Chris Hughton. Currently 10 men. Currently with 10 men at the moment, and Donny been sent off. Southampton also looking to make their mark in the Premier League this season. Obviously, the new management came in last year. They didn't finish where they would have wanted to. Obviously, no one's expecting them to get to Europa League, but improvement is needed. So, given that Chris Hughton was replaced by Graham Potter and he's under a lot of pressure to show that he can continue Chris Hughton's good work, do you see Brighton and Hove Albion and Southampton staying in the Premier League by come the end of the season? Will they survive relegation, as many have predicted? And if they do, where do you see both clubs going this year? What's the best they can hope for?
Hey, well, with Brighton, it's a bit weird. I thought the dismissal of Chris Hughton was rather unfair, similar to his dismissal at Newcastle, I believe. And yeah, it's a weird one because Brighton they've done well. They've done well. I think it's their third season in a row now, if I'm not mistaken, if not more. And as for Southampton, they really flirted with disaster last season. So Southampton, in all honesty, well, no disrespect to Brighton, should definitely be aiming way higher. So I hope Brighton obviously find their feet. They're a great club, amazing stadium, amazing pies, I've heard. I would love to check that out sometime. We should go. And in terms of where I think they would finish, I believe Southampton should definitely be aiming for the top 10. And over the next few seasons, definitely for at least the Europa League places. It's a big club, and I think they should be going for more. They've got a decent coach, and I think they can definitely punch up their weight. So yes, definitely I expect Brighton to stay safe. Obviously survive relegation, even if it means with a few games to spare or on the last day, I expect them to stay up. And I expect Southampton to definitely not have the issues they faced last season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, especially given Brighton have spent a large amount of money on the Brentford forward Neil Ampai. Did well, scoring on his, I think it was his debut when he came off the bench.
Yeah.
Did very well doing that, almost instantly repaying some of the money back. But it will be tough for him. Southampton have Danny Ings, who is arguably their best striker, but he's had injury problems, so he's still trying to push his way into the team. So yeah, personally speaking, I think they're both going to stay safe. Although it's a tricky one, really. Of both teams, if any were going to get relegated, I'd have to say Southampton. But I think they should be okay. So on to the next fixture. Manchester United losing 1-0 to Crystal Palace. I'm absolutely shocked by that. I know it's something many people say wouldn't shock them, given how different Manchester United are as a club over the last 2-3 years. But I wasn't expecting that. And I mean, if the result stays like this, what do you think? Do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has a lot of time to take Man United into this season, or is he under pressure to do something significant before December? What do you think? Do you think he's got time?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think a few shows ago a few weeks ago on the show we spoke about the Man United situation, and it's more obviously the spotlight's going to be on the manager more than most, but I really think the spotlight should be on Ed Woodward, because the issue with Solskjaer is, he's still got the Pogba thing to deal with. He's still got defensive issues that Mourinho wasn't actually taken serious for. Like, Mourinho actually highlighted certain issues at United, and it seemed like he was moaning again. And so it's a bit of a weird one. I think Solskjaer would definitely get given enough time, and by enough time I mean the duration of the season, and he will be judged based on that. So if he had a terrible season, then I wouldn't be surprised if he got fired. If he had a decent season, then they would try to push on, or at least some common sense would play into mind, some sentiment, I guess, because the structure is not in place as yet. So unfortunately, football's a cruel game, and he might get fired. Who knows? But I think he will definitely at least get this season to be judged.
Yeah, I think if it ever got to a point, I think they might do a Moyes, in the sense that if they get to a point where once again they didn't qualify for Champions League, at that point they might get rid of him. I put Man United in the top four. My prediction for this season, so that's really surprising. I'm kind of glad they got rid of Lukaku, in the sense that I don't think he was right for their style of play, and I think that was actually one of the reasons why I heard that they got rid of him. I think someone rapid like Martial or Rashford playing centre forward for United works better, especially if they're trying to bring back the counter attacking days under Alex Ferguson. With Solskjaer's influence there. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Alexis Sanchez reportedly has agreed to leave Manchester United to sign for Inter Milan. I don't think that's actually confirmed. Again, there's all rumours, so until it happens, it's not official, let's say. And the signing of Maguire, although personally speaking, we spoke about this last time, I think 80 million pounds is a lot of money for him. From the 2 performances he's had already, he does seem to be making a difference. He will get tested the harder the games come. And I'd say Man United are odds on for top 4. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, I think have an issue there with Wilfried Zaha. He, of course, made it very clear that he wanted to leave. In the end, he didn't go. I think Arsenal was his preferred destination. I think Everton came in at the last minute, and in the end, they opted for I think Iwobi. When Roy Hodgson came into Palace, I gave them no chance. I didn't rate Hodgson as a manager. I honestly thought they were going to go straight down. I think was it De Boer who was in charge of Palace at the start of the season. Didn't get any points. I don't think they even scored any goals. Gave them no hope, but he's done really well and got them to a fantastic finishing position at the end of the Premier League last year. Crystal Palace, Benteke doesn't seem to be firing on all cylinders as he used to do. Wilfried Zaha apparently wants to leave, so who knows if his head is in the game when he plays for Palace. But they beat Manchester United. Do you see Palace pushing for anything other than safety? Do you think they could push for Europa League?
Perhaps the Europa League is a bit too early. It is possible, but with teams like, I would say, Wolves, Everton, the ambition Everton are showing, I would say it's a bit too early. That said, I actually think Palace are a team that could do damage. I think they don't get enough credit. I remember the game last season when they beat Man City. I think it was one of the goals of the season from Andros Townsend. And they've been involved in similar games over the last few seasons, like significant games. You could refer back to the Liverpool game where I think it was even Tony Pulis in charge, and Liverpool were meant to win it. Everyone goes on about the infamous Gerrard slip, but the truth is they lost it against Crystal Palace. So, Palace have been involved. Like they've done, they've kind of punched above their weight and they're steady in the Premier League. I do think they need a bit of a change in terms of, with all due respect, I actually do like Roy Hodgson. I recall you not giving him a chance. And I do understand why, to be fair, they definitely need a change of manager, but he's done well. I think Zaha, I did have this game on in the background. And I do think, in as much as he wanted to leave, his head is definitely in the game. He's the kind of player that needs that. I would say feeds off the controversy or extra circumstances. So he's actually playing very well. Won a few free kicks. It's definitely frustrating the United players. Definitely kicking on with his team. So obviously, come January, we'll see. But I think Palace will be all right for sure. And I think in the long term, though, they should definitely look to make a few changes in terms of the manager. And with the sale of Zaha, which is definitely going to happen, they will have the funds to at least buy some players.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Palace should be fine. If they have an excellent season, the best I can see is sixth place, if that. Maybe a good cup run. But I mean, I think initially my issue with Roy Hodgson and my doubt that I had in him when he joined Crystal Palace had a lot to do with how he handled the England job. I was so disappointed after the Euros. It just felt like he didn't have a clue what he was doing. I know he's an experienced manager and he's had many teams before he joined England. But I think the decision to have Harry Kane take corners and free kicks in that tournament when it clearly wasn't working and nothing was changed, I think was a big disappointment. Obviously, the performances weren't great. And the defeat to Iceland just capped it all off, to be honest. And as I say, I think that's why a lot of the negativity I had towards Hodgson was that. But he's proved me wrong. He's come into Palace, changed their fortunes. They haven't spent huge amounts of money, and he's done the job that he was brought there for, to keep them safe. He did that. Now he can push on. He's done very well to keep Wilfried Zaha, obviously a gem in that team, and they're the most influential player. Um, Fast, tricky, scores goals, gets fouled as you said, so wins important set pieces as Palace are known for. But yeah, Palace will be safe. We'll see what happens with them. The other match is Sheffield United 0, Leicester City 1. Jamie Vardy scoring on 38 minutes. I'm glad to see that. I know a few years back when Leicester won the league, Vardy was spoken about going to a bigger club, Arsenal, Manchester United, all these other teams were reportedly interested in signing him. Leicester offered him a new contract. He signed it. And since then, he's basically got a starting position in that team as long as he's fit. It's great to see him scoring goals. Do you think Vardy should retire at Leicester? Or do you think he should maybe make him one final move before he thinks about hanging up his boots?
Yeah. Well, well, I'm happy to see him at Leicester. That's one thing I would say. He's like a fixture in the squad now. Definitely a symbol from their title-winning season, along with Kante and a few other standout, well, the one or two standout players. Obviously, it was a team effort. But in terms of moving, I would honestly say at this stage it wouldn't make any sense. As you said, he's picked whenever he's fit. Um, and in as much as obviously there was a bit of controversy him coming to Arsenal or not, truth is he definitely made the right choice. I think if he came to Arsenal, he definitely would have scored goals. Of course, that's what he does. But at the same time, you're moving to a new club. There's different circumstances. Wenger would have left the season after. So all in all, he did the right thing for himself. And yeah, it's great to see him at Leicester. I think he should retire there. At the same time, you never know in the twilight, when his final little heyday, he might just think of going to the States. Players I think should actually do that. It's a beautiful place to play football, in your latter years. So stay at Leicester for as long as you can play in the Premier League. And if you still have the hunger, then I'm pretty sure he would kill it out there in America. So yeah.
Okay, so as we can see there, Watford are 1-1 with West Ham United. Mark Noble opened the scoring after 3 minutes with a penalty. Gray with the equaliser after 17 minutes. Garcia's done a fantastic job with Watford so far. I've been very impressed with the fact that he's kept his job, something that Watford managers aren't known for. The ownership at Watford are known for wanting a change every so often. West Ham United trying to improve their what's the word? Their image, let's say, after moving out of the bowling ground and into the Olympic Stadium. Things didn't go so well when they first started playing. There are problems with the policing, crowd trouble, things like that. Lay, where do you see Watford and West Ham, the two London clubs, this season? Would you see them causing many problems to the bigger sides? Do you see them getting relegated? And is Europe a viable option for either team this year, be it through the league or the cups?
Okay. Well, I would say both clubs. I would just say from right off the bat, I would say both. I expect both teams to be safe. If any team was to perhaps get caught in a little bit of trouble, it'd be West Ham, but I expect them to be safe. Like you said, they are still somewhat searching for their identity since the move. It's a tricky one. Unfortunately, it's a business as well as a sport. More usually a business first, and so yeah, somehow fate has got them in this weird situation where they have to make the most of it. So they'll be okay. They appointed a great manager. You could tell with some of the signings, you tell what they're trying to do. And with time, I expect West Ham to, reclaim its, well, whatever they think they deserve as West Ham fans.
They've brought in a lot of players in the last couple of years, haven't they? Like, especially like Felipe Anderson, who looks like a
great player,
cracking player. Yeah.
Great player. So yeah, even obviously, even Wilshere, even though he's injury prone somewhat, you can see what they're trying to do. Or when they tried to get Najri in for, I believe, a 6-month period. So they've got ambition. That's one thing I definitely will give West Ham. They've got ambition. In terms of Watford, so yeah, I expect West Ham to stay up, but not necessarily compete for Europe or do as well in the cups. Unfortunately,
yeah, no,
I think survival. Yeah, survival is their primary objective. In terms of Watford, I would say, their moment came last season when they dumped Wolves out of the cup. That was amazing because Wolves was everyone's, favorite second team, or well, every neutral's favorite team. They were playing amazing, and Watford really turned the tables, and were very unfortunate to, come up against the Pep Guardiola side that, unfortunately seemed to get dumped out of Europe, but obviously beat smaller teams in the cup finals. I thought it was a bit unfair. I think they lost about 5 or 6-0, which is harsh. But yeah, all credit to Watford. I expect them to do well this season. Great coach. Um, and I know they've lost Troy Deeney for a significant period of time, but that might actually be a blessing in disguise. Obviously, we wish him a speedy recovery. But in terms of their playing style, they need to, as they kick on, perhaps explore other avenues and options in terms of their approach to the game in general. So yeah, I expect Watford to do well and perhaps challenge for the European places either by the league or a cup competition.
Yeah, I was gonna come on to that actually. Troy Deeney obviously is a very important player for Watford and
Mm,
currently out injured several weeks before he comes back. Apparently, um, because of that, Danny Welbeck has an
mm,
opportunity here to
mm,
stake his claim for the starting position of a frontline striker. Now, he's had injury problems, big injury problems last season. The season before that, he obviously picked up a few knocks as well. So he's quite injury prone the older he's got. Do you think he can if he stays fit, he can be an important player for Watford, or do you think once Deeney is back, he'll just resume his position as the head striker at Watford?
um, I, I
Can
honestly,
you see Danny Welbeck getting double figures? Is what I'm getting at.
oh, easily. Well, okay, easily at a team like Arsenal. I would also say easily for two reasons. One, I actually think he's a better player than people give him credit for. Two, he's playing under a coach that actually really has an attacking mindset. He covers that aspect of the game, so
Mm.
he will definitely encourage Welbeck to kick on. I think Welbeck will do amazing at any top 10 Premier League side, any top 10 side. It'd be obviously in terms of the top four teams, I would say off the bench from 5 or 6, I could definitely see him starting with a probably better striker. So he could play off him, and Welbeck will cause problems. Like he's definitely a better player than people give him credit for. I think if perhaps he and Andre Gray could play up front, they could actually form a lethal duo in their own respect. So, yeah, I expect Welbeck to do well. Obviously, it's a shame for Deeney, but it's an opportunity for Welbeck, which I expect him to take, providing he's fit. And like I said, I think despite even when Deeney does return, I think he should perhaps be their player off the bench in case they had to throw the kitchen sink at a game
Yeah, I
to
see what you
the
mean.
point.
Yeah.
Or yeah, they need to take a new approach. So players like Welbeck or players of that ilk or style are perhaps the players they should start pushing forward to push on in the league and obviously in Europe.
Yeah, no, Welbeck impressed me when he was at Sunderland when he was very young. In my opinion, did okay when he was at Manchester United.
Mm,
Went to Arsenal, and I think the injuries just got to him and affected his form. And obviously, at the end, when you're out for almost a season with the contract running out, it's very hard to, give good reasons why they should keep you on.
but
But it's good to see that he stayed in London, gone to Watford. A good club, good family club, a well-run club as well. If you
yes.
excuse the constant sackings of managers, Watford have
Mm,
kept their position in the Premier League since their promotion from the Championship a few years back. So they are an established Premier League team. Will be good to see him doing well and kicking on and hopefully regaining his career back a little bit, especially after that awful injury. And yeah, good luck to Welbeck. And for West Ham United, I think they've got a lot of work on. They've spent a lot of money on their players.
mm,
Personally, I think they have some decent players there. Before Pellegrini came in, the management of the team wasn't great. Since he's come in, he's organised them a bit better. But there is still a long way to go for West Ham to be anything other than a bottom half of the table team, in my
mm,
opinion. So yeah, will be interesting to see how they get on. Now, while we've been talking, there's been a goal at Brighton and Hove Albion. Southampton have gone 1-0 up. Gineppo, after 55 minutes, has put them ahead. With the 10 men of Brighton and Hove Albion, it could be an opportunity for Southampton to take advantage of that and maybe stretch the lead. So that's the current games. Other than that, no other updates. Oh no, tell a lie. Sheffield United have just scored. McBurney has made it 1-1. 62 minutes have gone. Great for them, by the way. We didn't really touch much on Sheffield United, but for a team like that, with the resources they've got and the manager that they've got to push their way up the Championship last season. But yeah, and obviously Billy Sharp scoring his first Premier League goal, having played with Sheffield United from all 4 divisions, getting an equaliser against Bournemouth last week. So it's great for him. So that's that. Another goal has gone in. Sebastian Haller looks like he scored his first goal for West Ham United. 64 minutes gone. Watford 1, West Ham 2. Let's hope it doesn't get chalked off in a few seconds for VAR. But yeah, that's done. So as I mentioned as well, this afternoon, Liverpool versus Arsenal. Big game ahead. Lay, give us your opinions. Do you think Arsenal can beat Liverpool, given how good Liverpool have been in the last 18 months?
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting game, I'll tell you that. I do think definitely Arsenal could beat Liverpool. Anyone could beat anyone, and I know it's a bit of a cliche, but we all know it's true.
And what is it that you think Arsenal have that they can beat Liverpool with?
I think as much as Liverpool did an amazing job last season, amazing. Um, I think it's okay. Don't shoot the messenger, but if not this season, later on down the line, you realize that it's about to go a bit stale.
For Liverpool?
Yeah. Now, they did everything they could and they didn't win the league. Now, in as much as I know the Champions League is an amazing trophy, amazing accolade, it's still a cup competition. True pride lies in winning your league, and that's just how it is. That's how you get to play in the Champions League in the first place. So they won it, and yes, they did. They fair plays, but they still couldn't win the league. Now, I think even Klopp has seen that, and he might go for one more push, but even he may retire soon, and you could tell by the lack of transfer activity. So it's going to be a weird time.
Klopp retire from football?
No, from Liverpool. Well, take a break, or definitely take a break. And I wouldn't be surprised if he retires from football anyways. He's always on the edge. Like, he gives 150%. Some of it theatrics, but it's still good for the press, and it gets the supporters moving. That takes a lot of emotion. Like, being a football coach is stressful anyways. So I kind of have this weird feeling Klopp may look to, take a back seat from the game for a little while, and Liverpool more or less know that and are reacting to it in terms of their lack of transfer activity. So they did their best and they did win the Champions League, and all congrats to them. Obviously, the numbers don't lie. They were the best team in the competition. That said, yeah, Arsenal, if we don't beat them today, which I won't be surprised, I would definitely still expect us to, start beating them again soon. So hopefully today, and if not, soon. So yes, come on, you Gunners.
I think you're kind of right. Oh, I think I see Liverpool making more mistakes this season than last. Now that's not going to be. It's not much of a challenge, if it is a challenge, just because how good they were last year. They never put a foot wrong hardly, and then whenever they weren't really punished. But I think had this been, March last year, I could see Liverpool smashing you.
Oh, sorry, Arsenal. Go by Leicester. Sorry, go by Leicester, by the way.
Go by Leicester. Okay, we'll get that come through in a second. Okay, hasn't come through yet. But anyway, I don't see Liverpool smashing you this game this afternoon. In all honesty, I think it's going to finish 2-2. I think Lacazette and Aubameyang and the attacking, and Pepe even, if he shows the kind of form he showed at Lille, have the ability to get into Liverpool as long as they keep possession of the ball, get into Liverpool and cause some trouble. But I don't think you're going to win because of your defence. I think it's always going to let you down. I think Arsenal do need something else. I put this to an Arsenal fan, and I'll put it to you. Would you take Maguire and Lindelof as your centre-back pairing over what you have now?
Over what we have now? Ooh, no, not necessarily. I'd probably take Maguire. Like, so one of the two, and if I had to take one of the two, it'd be Maguire, but
And
not necessarily.
pair him with who?
I'd pair Maguire with Holding or Luis or
Who-
Socrates. Any of them there. Like, Maguire is definitely an upgrade to what we have. He knows the league.
So
But
who is your best centre back?
right now,
Yeah.
unfortunately, our best centre back is injured. Holding,
Who?
Rob Holding.
Oh, so you think Rob Holding's better than Socrates or David Luiz?
Um,
Like
I would.
you'd have him starting with Maguire if in a perfect world.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
in a perfect world, yes.
I'm glad you said that actually, because of all the defenders you do have, I think he is the most talented. When I've asked this question to other Arsenal fans, they've said David Luiz, which I'm not too sure that's actually a good
But
answer.
he's a great footballer. No, David Luiz is a great footballer, and I would have him as a centre back option anytime. But if I had to pick my first choice, yes, I would say, yeah. If those were my options, Maguire and Holding, 100%.
I've always been intrigued to see David Luiz play as a defensive mid. I mean,
Yes, yes.
I don't know. I've seen him make so many mistakes as centre back. And the older he's got, the more mistakes he seems to be making. Defensive midfielder might be good for him, but we'll see. We'll see what happens this season with Arsenal. Liverpool, on the other hand, obviously, as you mentioned there, fantastic year last year. One defeat, miraculously not winning the league, given that they only lost one game and they got 97 points. Can you see them winning the league this season, or let's be honest, has Man City got it wrapped up already?
This season, I would like to see a surprise. Unfortunately, I don't know. Man City seem to have got this league clocked. Like, they know what it takes. So if they ever failed in Europe again, or whatever, and I think people need to perhaps highlight Pep Guardiola a bit more for that. Like, people don't realize, apart from when he won it with Barcelona, he hasn't been able to do it anywhere else. So, there's that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Yeah, they've got the league. I think they know what it takes, and they've got what it takes to win the league. They have this formula, and it would always work, even if they have to push themselves, like how they got pushed by Liverpool, which was an amazing title race. But
Mm.
yeah, I think if not Man City, hopefully Arsenal. But I think Man City again this year, and then next year things will really shape up with obviously Liverpool having more clarity over what they're doing. Depending obviously on how it goes, but Tottenham also settling into their new stadium. Um, Everton pushing a bit more, Wolves pushing a bit more, Man United definitely making a more decisive change, and obviously Arsenal kicking on hopefully from a better season than last season. So it's going to be more interesting next year. This year it might just be Man City again, but we'll see.
I don't know if Liverpool could keep up the consistency they have had over the last 18 months. It's not
Mm,
impossible, but one major factor, in my opinion anyway, one interesting uh, thing to look out for as we start this season is the injury to Alisson. Alisson Becker obviously got taken off after the first game. Adrian came in and caused a bit of a howler against Southampton last season. Could have cost them the 3 points, given how Southampton attacked Liverpool towards the end of the game.
mm.
I think that is going to play a huge part in today's game against Arsenal, and generally in the next 4 weeks or so. I don't know how many league games are being played, but I think that's going to be a major factor, major twist to how this Premier League season is going to finish. Um, I just think Alisson and Van Dijk was a huge reason as to why Liverpool only lost one game last year. So having one of them not in the team consistently, it will be interesting to watch. But I mean, just to answer my own question, I don't see Liverpool winning the league. I think Man City have just got too much. Even my beloved Spurs, as good as they've been in the last couple of years, I don't think they've bought well enough in the transfer window to actually push on, maybe into second place, but not push on to third place. First place. So yeah, I think this is Man City's league again this year. On who can blame them? What a fantastic team! Yeah, okay, you can talk about the money that they've had to build this team, but the way Guardiola's got them to play and the improvements he's got out of players like Sterling, it's just been
Yeah.
fantastic to see. One little thing I didn't like about Guardiola coming out and speaking about Foden as one of the most talented players he's ever worked with. If that's the case, why isn't he starting him? But anyway, we've only just started the season, so you never know. He could be finishing the year with 30 games this year. Who knows? As you mentioned there before earlier, Leicester City did score that second goal. Barnes on 70 minutes. Not long to go. West Ham United also have scored another goal. Sebastian Haller on 73 minutes. So good for him. He looks like a big unit. Did you see him play for West Ham recently, the start of the season? He looks
Not as yet. No, not as yet.
he looks massive, and I didn't really see him much in Germany, so I'm intrigued to see how he gets on. Also, Wesley looks a bit of a big, strong player. Doesn't look very agile, in my opinion. Doesn't look very technical, but played very well for Villa yesterday against Everton, and obviously Villa got their 2-0 win last night. Finally, tomorrow sees Newcastle against Tottenham. Sorry, Tottenham against Newcastle, as it's playing at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I'd be confident enough to say Spurs should come out of that with 3 points. Newcastle, of course, Rafa Benitez gone to China, took Solomon Rondon with him. Newcastle, given their problems with the chairman and the playing staff, Steve Bruce has come in, and many people have criticised that decision to bring him in. Just very simply, are Newcastle safe this year or not?
Oh, I actually think they might be contenders for relegation. Very silly move. Getting rid of Benitez. Obviously, yes, Benitez was also getting paid. You know, there were times where it seemed like he was blameless in this, but you know, he still did his job and whatever. But in terms of real ambition, you know, Ashley should have. I don't know. Definitely things happen behind the scenes, but it's a shame Benitez is not there. And I definitely think Newcastle have really regressed in terms of their Premier League status or their ambitions for the Premier League. I would not be surprised if they got relegated. With all due respect to Steve Bruce, and I don't mean it in a harsh way. It's similar to how you felt about Roy Hodgson at the time. In terms of your ambition or anything, Steve Bruce is definitely not the man to embody that at this point in time. Maybe for a newly promoted side, yes. For a team like Newcastle, 50,000 capacity, no. They definitely deserve better than that. So,
yeah. I mean, as you say, it was a crazy decision to get rid of Benitez. To be honest with you, it was probably more Benitez wanting to leave than anything. I know who can blame him, to be honest. He wasn't really being given much money to build anything at Newcastle. But I think Newcastle will be flirting with relegation this season. And it's not down to the playing staff as such. I just think Steve Bruce isn't the right man for the job. And the morale, I think, is going to cost the club more than anything. If the morale is low and if it's bad, and especially within the stadium and the supporters, it's going to be a tough and long season. But I mean, I love Newcastle United. I think they're a great club, great fan base. I hope they stay up, and I do wish better times for them. You know, hopefully for their sake, Mike Ashley will leave the club soon. And just finally, quickly, we've got Wolverhampton Wanderers against Burnley tomorrow. I've been so impressed with Wolves lately. Again, with their performance against Torino in the Europa League, it was you know, they played very, very well. And their performance against Manchester United, getting the draw from with them at home. We have to remember they were a championship side 2 years ago, so even though they've looked impressive last season, they've still got to, you know, maintain that second season form, and you know, and try to make themselves an established Premier League team. Wolverhampton Wanderers, you know, what can they do this year? Do you think they can push for the top four, as some people are suggesting?
No, I think they'll be thereabouts, but I expect them to finish no lower than seventh.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
no lower than seventh, and obviously, I would say in a year or two, definitely start kicking for that top four, and maybe a little surprise run like Leicester did. Because I rate them highly. They're pain sometimes when they're playing my side, because you know, I don't know how to defend against. Sometimes it's like one of those FIFA goals you concede on pro clubs where the guy Ruben Neves just picks it up and you're thinking, oh my god, like someone defend, and bang, it's in the top corner. So
that Neves goal against United was fantastic.
Oh, amazing! Off the crossbar, I think.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And brilliant corner routine as well, because that came from a routine that they practice in training apparently. So yeah, that was a great goal.
Yeah, and credit to the manager. You could tell they really work on their craft. Like, they work on what they're good at. So, Wolves are definitely a great side and a great ambassador for the Premier League in general. No disrespect to other leagues. I still think other leagues are more technical overall. But the Premier League, in terms of, teams coming up like this, punching above their weight and really, making a name for themselves, the Premier League is the best.
Yeah, no, of course, definitely. Burnley, I think Sean Dyche has done a great job with them.
Yes.
Um, they got rid of Tom Heaton, didn't they?
Oh yeah, was it? They had Nick Pope and Tom Heaton,
So
right?
Nick Pope is the starting goalkeeper. No love there for Joe Hart on the bench
Yeah,
for Burnley.
yeah.
Um, I think Burnley are a team that are always going to be there or thereabouts. I don't see them. I don't see them struggling for relegation, and that's a massive compliment considering the resources Burnley has and the players that they do have. But they battle hard. They know the route. They know the strategy, the tactics that Sean Dyche likes to play, and I see them staying safe. I don't see them being anything caught up with relegation at all. But I don't see them pushing for any Europa League places. And if they're very lucky, they'll finish in the top half of the table. But yeah, as I say, that's a massive job from Sean Dyche to establish them in the Premier League,
Of course, of course.
which is
No,
key.
no, he's done an amazing job. He's done an amazing job. I don't know what's next for them. Maybe they might do, what Bournemouth are doing and just obviously just staying steady. But he's done amazing, done amazing. And it's a shame though because I remember when he was linked to the Everton job, and you could tell that was like his big chance. He might get one more, and don't shoot the messenger, but I have a feeling it might be the Newcastle job.
For who?
Sean Dyche.
That would be a good appointment, but
Yeah.
I don't see Mike Ashley doing that. Who knows? It just feels like he's gone for a cheaper option than Steve Bruce. And in my opinion, Steve Bruce is a fight relegation type manager, so he'll keep them in the
Yeah.
Premier League. But I don't see anything else other than that with him in charge. So remains to be seen. Now, before we go off, quick recap on the scores: Norwich City 2, Chelsea 3. That was the early kickoff. Frank Lampard getting his first Premier League points win. Sorry, with Chelsea. Brighton 0, Southampton 1. Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1. That's a shocker if it stays that way. We've got not long to go. Apparently, there's a VAR call at the moment at that game. Sorry if I'm being distracted looking at me. I'm looking at the television right now. There's a VAR claim. Sheffield United 1, Leicester City 2, and Watford 1, West Ham United 3. Which I'll be honest with you, I thought Watford were going to win that game. Before we go off as well, just quick transfer news. Your thoughts on the Coutinho to Bayern Munich move? What do you think about that?
I think once again, players have, football has shown that Barcelona is not paradise. They may try tap you up or do whatever it takes to get to you, but once they've used you and they're done with you, then it's over. So unfortunately, for Liverpool, they lost a player who was that match winner, that bona fide, that little, cherry on the cake, so to speak. Oh, I think there's a VAR call at the Man United game. It might be a last minute penalty. Obviously, we'll stay posted. But yeah, that said, I'm glad he found a European giant to sign for. The PSG move would have been a bit too early for him, and it would have, unfortunately, signaled, no disrespect to PSG, but the decline of his career. So I'm glad he's at Bayern Munich. They needed a player of his ilk, and yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, he can kick on. And players beware of Barcelona and the greener pastures.
It's a mad one really because everyone waxed lyrical about Coutinho when he was at Liverpool because quite rightly so. He was fantastic for them. He was one of their best players, or if not the best player that they had there. So obviously a big move to especially being a Brazilian, a big move to like a Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, those type of clubs was always in the cards, and he made that move. But prior to him arriving at Liverpool, I made the bold claim on Twitter to say that he wouldn't be a success. Now, the reason for that was I'd been to the Under-20 World Cup in Colombia in 2011. He was sounded out as one of their best players, and in the end, Oscar, the ex-Chelsea player, and turned out to be their best player. And Coutinho didn't do anything really, in my opinion, to make him, name for people to name him as the outstanding player on that team. At Inter Milan, he really struggled hard. Obviously, he was very young when he was there, but he struggled hard, never cemented a position in the team. Cause of him being lazy and not professional at Inter. So that led me to the conclusion that he wasn't going to do much at Liverpool. Now, he's done great. He did fantastically well, got that move to Barcelona. And again, at Barca, it just seems that the issues that he had at Inter Milan, whether or not he was lazy or not at Barca, I don't know, but he just didn't seem to crack on as he should have done. A change in his position from when he was at Liverpool obviously doesn't help. He was put more into the Rakitic central midfield role. When he played there, he wasn't really as effective as he normally was on the wings. But I think it's good for him that he's gone to a big club like Bayern Munich. Hopefully, he can establish himself there. And arguably, the Bundesliga is possibly not easier, but less pressure than La Liga, especially being a South American player. But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to do okay, and I hope he does okay because he is a talented player. It's just been unlucky for him so far in his career. One player that has left Bayern Munich, I don't know if you heard this one. This came out yesterday, I think last night. Renato Sanchez has left them to go to Lille.
Oh.
Do you think he still has it in the top flight? Do you think there's something underlying there that he went from a fantastic 17, 18-year-old prospect at Benfica, absolutely storming the Euros with Portugal, to this player who's been loaned out from Bayern Munich to Swansea, and now he's transferred to Lille. Do you see much of a what's the word? Do you see him turning into a top-class midfielder for a big club one day, or do you think it's a case of attitude issues with him that he hasn't actually kicked on and impressed?
No, yeah, it might be a bit of both. I think it's more too much too soon, as
Yeah.
opposed to maybe the Bayern move came too early. If Bayern signed him and then loaned him out to Swansea immediately, perhaps maybe things may have been different. That said, I'm glad he's at Lille. Football's a weird game. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, unfortunately, players don't hit the heights necessarily, and then we take our eye off them and we forget they're still, they're actually playing at a certain level and just they found their little piece, wherever it seems they should have made it. Like I had a very soft spot for Carlos Vela. I thought he was going to be one of the greatest players, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out necessarily as I thought it would, or he probably thought it would. But
the same with Giovanni Dos Santos.
exactly, yeah, exactly. I loved him too, and unfortunately, but you hear about them and they're just somewhere doing their thing. They're at peace. They're playing the game they love, and it might not be as glamorous as we may want it to be, but then it's the game we love. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, the kid can definitely rekindle his career because if not at a club level, at international level, there's a crop of Portuguese players where he should definitely and hopefully be a part of, and definitely would be great for his career. He could flourish with Yao Felix, for example, Bernardo Silva, Andre Silva. They got some nice players coming up in Portugal. They got Bruno Fernandes, and yeah, we'll see. So hopefully this is the start for him, and he can kick on.
I think
good players.
I think you're right about the levels issue. Let's say Renato Sanchez's level is Portuguese and French football rather than the Premier League and the Bundesliga. So from what I did see from him at Benfica, he looked great. Such a young player as well. Hopefully things turn out better for him. And this move to Lille is going to be a catalyst to onto big and better things for their sake anyway. But I mean, Lille are Champions League this season, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
So yeah, I mean, it's not a small club in that sense.
No,
I think it's the first time they've got there, but it will be good to see him hopefully make his mark in the Champions League. Okay, we're gonna stop it there. Just before the games are finishing, you can see there it's 86 minutes at Brighton, 5 minutes left at Old Trafford. Unbelievable if Crystal Palace nick this win. We're going into injury time with Leicester City 2-1 up against Sheffield United. West Ham looking like they've got their 3 points there. 4 minutes left, 86 minutes in the Watford West Ham game, 3-1 to West Ham. As always, Leigh Petreli, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's great having your insight as always. even though we both waffle on a bit too much, I think. If you've stayed on till the end of this video, please comment at the bottom of the page. Let us know where you think these Premier League teams are going to end up this season. I don't think we've said many teams are going to get relegated, so that's going to be an awkward thing at the end of the season. Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, turn that bell on YouTube so you know exactly when we are going to go, when our videos are uploaded, and on the odd occasion when we do a live stream. Follow follow SoccerSanchez on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and not Facebook. I don't do Facebook. And Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. There are the details on screen on there. Thank you for watching, and if you're listening to this as a podcast, thank you for listening. As always, we'll be back with you again soon. Lay, thank you so much for joining me again. Any last words before we go?
Yes. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and yes, long live the game.
Long live the game. Thanks again, Lay, and thank you for watching and tuning in and taking part. It's been emotional. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yes.